No, baby tummy.
So, not a baby tummy. It's just an older man's tummy.
I've got a baby tummy and a Jewish tummy. That's just a bad combo.
I don't know why. I don't know why I got to go racial.
Jewish
Bad
tummies
combo.
are known for having IBS.
Classic.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. That's a classic.
Well, you kosher all the time.
They talk about that.
I don't eat kosher.
No,
It's
it's
just
the anxiety to gut microbiome.
correct.
pipeline.
Yes, that's a great.
Need some probiotics, man.
It's a great way to put it. It's
Yeah.
just the Jewish anxiety, Jewish
anxiety
guilt
equals
leads to Jewish tummy.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I got you, Ethan. Don't worry.
It's not like we eat great either. I
Yeah,
mean,
if
what
Jer
are
Bear
our
were
foods?
here, yeah.
Pastrami's
Right.
and cream cheese,
Smoked
Reuben
richest,
sandwiches,
fattiest smoked
matzo
salmon.
ball soup. Like that's maybe the healthiest thing we
Matzo ball
have.
soup is so good.
They kind of explored this in Something About Mary. Not Something About Mary. Along Came Polly. That was like half of Ben Stiller's character was he had IBS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she goes to him. She takes him to like the Indian restaurant the first night they go out, and then all night he's like fighting an urge to go to the bathroom, and he's like sweating through it. And like half the first joke of the movie, the main joke is that.
Just
that
I have
toilet,
you
right?
tabbed
Yeah.
as
Yes.
a big latke fan.
Oh, my
Like
God.
you joined Lee's family and
okay.
just like ate 20 latkes the first time you
I
went to Hanukkah.
love potatoes. Potatoes are so underrated. Latkes are just fried
Yeah,
potatoes
literally.
with like sour cream or applesauce. Sprinkle a little salt on it.
My grandma mixes
they're
onion
so
into it.
good. Oh yeah, onion. yeah.
Every Jew
So does
ever
Lee's
says
mom.
this, but my grandma makes the best latkes.
Can she make some for me? I'll be the judge of
Absolutely,
that.
yeah.
We could reheat them in the air fryer. The air fryer, by the
100%,
way,
yeah.
great invention for if you're a Laka family because you could just
Yeah.
pop
Reheat
them
them.
in and reheat
Reheat them in the air fryer.
Oh my God, they're so
Aren't
good.
potatoes great for you because you can't eat bread?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great filling carb to eat that is not including wheat. But I hate talking about being gluten-free on this show because Dan has so many weird, worse and weirder allergies than me that I feel like, I have it easy. Like,
Yeah.
I just have to avoid barley, rye, and wheat. And Dan's like, I can't have any nut except pecans.
We have to do a full
Breakdown.
MLM investigation. That's Meadowlark Media. Investigation on, and I'm pretty sure you can make a mini documentary about Dan's whatever he's allergic to food-wise, and then what he actually eats, and just see how that all marries and see what actually happens.
Yeah.
By the way, Jer Bear is listening and said his grandma actually makes the best latkes.
That's what I said. Every Jew, I'm sure Lee would say the same thing. Like every Jew would
Well,
say
I'm glad
that their
you're here,
grandma makes the
Ethan.
best latkes.
Because I got a question for you. We had some trips. That was like a lot of
Yeah.
trips going on the same weekend. Not even counting the Super Bowl one, which is the weekend before. But as I was getting ready to go to All-Star Weekend in San Francisco with Amin and Juju, and then I saw that Billy and Mike and Ethan and the boys and Chris Cody. I'm sorry, we're all in different places.
I was the only one that didn't go.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. I'm going to start
Bullshit,
with
man.
I want to start with Ethan and the Canada trip.
Don't have
because,
green text, Roy. It's a simple solution.
I mean,
Kiss
you know
my
what?
ass. Talking about
Wait, is that
He's right,
really
though.
how this happened? Like you weren't in the group chat, so you didn't get the invite?
Well, that and I wanted to cover 4 nations, and they said no.
I will say
Meadowlark?
that you actually
Yeah.
have more say or more of an argument now that they've sort of incorporated the Android stuff in, so you don't actually have to complain, or people can't complain about having the green text. It's just a different color because everything else is the same.
Exactly. And
not
as I
true.
said before,
Those
kiss
texts are
my
still
ass,
green.
Ethan.
My brother has an Android. Those texts are still green. It's
Right,
not
they're still
integrated
green.
yet. Yeah.
But what else can't you do? Like, as it used to be where if you did like a smiley face or whatever, it would say such and such has laughed at this.
Oh, I hate
text.
it.
Yeah,
That's
but
so
text
bad.
messages still come up for me like separately. Like if somebody texts SMS, it starts an entirely new group chat.
Well, get a new
That's
phone.
with all the same
How about
numbers.
that?
I never mind, Roy. You're still out. But Ethan, so this trip to Canada.
Yes.
How did it come about? Now, you didn't have like a significant other, no offense, a significant other to worry about, like leaving on Valentine's Day. But this is a big group of dudes, and half of them are married, right? How did you get away with the Valentine's Day trip?
They got good significant others, I guess, man. I don't know. They just, it happened to be that weekend. We planned this months and months and months ago. We had a great time. When we found out the 4 Nations was happening, Mike Ryan was just kind of like, okay, I'm going to buy 8 tickets. And figure out who wants to come, just kind of reach out to the hockey chat who would be interested in going. I had never left the country before. So this was my first time out of the country.
Wow.
Yes, going up to
Not
Canada.
even like accidentally made it to the Bahamas one
Nope,
time?
nope. This was
Wow.
the first time I put my passport to actual use, like leaving the country. So
So I had to
yeah,
go to
it was-
Edmonton twice.
I don't want to hear you complain about this again. You were on the ice after Game 7 of Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
that
want
was
to hear.
in
I don't
Florida.
want to hear this
Okay,
anymore. I would have gone to Edmonton.
I'm with you, Roy.
I would have gone to Edmonton 7
That
times
was a
to be on the
much
ice.
cooler experience.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of the trip?
Ooh, USA Canada. That was unreal. I mean, I I went to an SEC school. I went to the University of Florida. Like, I was in some incredible
One more time?
atmospheres.
What kind of school did you go to?
I went to an SEC school.
go.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I was in some incredible atmospheres throughout my college years, and I don't know if I've experienced anything quite like Saturday night in Montreal. Like,
Couple of gators chopping it up over
yeah,
there.
a couple gators. When the first fight happens, like the eruption from the arena was just unreal. Everybody just gets out of their seats, and then you could kind of feel, you saw Sam Bennett and Brady Tkachuk in the face-off dot together, and you could feel like, oh, this isn't over. They went again, the roar again, same thing, like just an unbelievable level of noise. And then the third one happens, and it comes like the first play, they charge the net, USA fires a shot in, and then you just see all of these bodies collapse on the net, and you lock in on JT Miller, and he's just looking for a fight. Like, he shakes his gloves off, just looking for anybody
Wait,
to go
so
with him.
if I may, who won
Yeah.
the game?
The United States won the game.
And now, if you're listening to this, there's already a winner in the tournament, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. Oh man,
Correct.
it's such a bummer they didn't win on
Yeah.
in the final.
didn't
Or
come
hell
back.
yeah,
Or
USA.
hell yeah,
Let's
exactly.
go.
Let's
Let's
go.
go.
We're the number one hockey country in the world now.
USA.
No, but-
USA.
And then
Let's go States.
Cut that up properly.
Yeah.
So then, yeah, so 3 fights in 9 seconds, like unreal. And then 4.5 minutes later, like it just keeps building and building and building. And then McDavid gets a break and scores, and like, oh my God, like the arena was just
So
incredible.
the actual sporting event was the highlight of your sporting event
Yeah.
trip. That doesn't always
yes,
happen that way.
yes. There were some other great moments on that trip too, just like hanging out with the guys. I wore a hockey jersey to a
Guys being
steakhouse
dudes.
accidentally. That was kind of not my finest moment.
Is
Oh,
that
no.
Yeah.
like something you're not supposed to do?
I feel like
mean,
in Canada, it's par for the course.
That's what I kind of said. Is like in
Steak
Canada,
sauce.
that's like formal attire. But
they
yeah,
have a room
we
of
went-
hockey jerseys in the back. You
We
can pick
went
one.
to this nice steakhouse in Montreal, and I was like, we were split up into 2 groups, and our group was going into Montreal, and theirs was coming back to our VRBO. And one of the guys, Dan Nicoletti, was like, "Are you wearing a hockey jersey?"
Wait, what'd you call it? A VROBO?
No, it's
VRBO.
VRBO. I used to do the same
No,
thing.
it's
I didn't know
Verbo.
they called it
Verbo,
It's a
VRBO.
Verbo.
Oh, it used to be VRBO, and now they call it
not
Verbo.
It's both.
I've never heard of VRBO.
Whatever, the place
Never.
we were staying at. So,
It's both.
and Nicoletti goes, "Are you wearing a hockey jersey?" Like the most disappointed sounding, because he made the reservation, and I was like, I looked up the attire. It says casual. Like, I think I'll be okay. We get there. It's like a very nice, classy steakhouse. People with like nice jackets on and shit. And I'm like,
That's so
oh,
funny.
I'm so out of place here.
Was it the Sam Reinhart?
It was my Panthers Sam Reinhart jersey.
My fake Valentine's Day, because I was going to be out of town Friday, was I think Wednesday night, and we went to a place I think called Wine Garden or something, and I wore my Sam Reinhart jersey,
Yeah.
and I was like, why not? It's red.
Spill wine
And I
on
looked
it.
around, and everybody was dressed like it was super
In a
nice.
button-down.
And
I
that
was
like,
was,
you know what?
Izzy, I feel like you are a romantic, and you probably had the most thoughtful Valentine's Day of the 6 of us.
That's a lot of
Is
pressure.
that true? What did you guys do for Valentine's Day?
For Valentine's Day, I was in San Francisco, and he was in South Florida.
in your pre-Valentine's Day.
Pre-Valentine's Day. I actually did. So for Valentine's Day, I still, got some 1-800-Flowers with the Harry and David cookie and wine combination, which I never get him flowers, so he was surprised by that. We basically just had a night. The problem, we just had a night dinner, and that's pretty much it. The problem with Valentine's Day for us is his birthday is also 3 days later. So his birthday is this
Brutal.
past Monday, and that was just, and we also often play in a flag football tournament that same weekend that we host here in Fort Lauderdale. I didn't play this year because I was out of town, but he
Sad.
was. And so it's just a lot of activity going on, but we still had a couple of surprises
Okay,
for him
but
on his birthday.
dinner is nice.
Dinner, yeah, we did a nice dinner. It was lovely.
Billy, did you do anything for Valentine's Day?
There was a miscommunication that put me in the doghouse on Valentine's Day that we don't need to get into on the air, but I was scrambling at the last minute to...
Was this because of Stugotz?
No.
Okay.
No, it was,
I think I know what the miscommunication was. You probably said, "Hey, let's celebrate Valentine's Day on another day," and she said, "No, it's Valentine's Day."
Oh,
and then you
I
were
actually
scrambling
do.
Day of.
I do know what the miscommunication was. Billy thought something was going to happen that, through no fault of his own, did not happen, and he did not realize it until it was too late.
Yeah, something was supposed to arrive, and we got a message on Slack at a weird time 2 days before saying, "Hey, that thing that was supposed to arrive, it's not coming for some of you." And,
Whoops.
Valentine's Day, I was looking around. I'm like, where is this thing? We had like we're going to have a low-key Valentine's Day. I know that I took care of this like a month and a half ago. And I'm looking around, and I'm like, something's supposed to have been delivered and it's not here yet. What's going on here? And then I saw
you were in the
like 2
doghouse.
days before, it was like, never mind. Only some of you are going to be receiving said thing, not all of you. And I was not in the selected group, so then I had to kind of go scrambling. But I made up for it. I was fine.
So, but you didn't actually leave town on Valentine's Day. You left after?
I left Saturday afternoon, so I was there Valentine's Day. But we had the kids, and we've been traveling a lot. Like I had Super Bowl before, and we were in Georgia the week before that. So just kind of like a low-key night over. Some family came over to be with the girls. We had some pizza, and it's a nice little night.
This is just a weird thing for me. Do other members of your family wish you a happy Valentine's Day? Because that's the weirdest thing.
I got a group text from my family that was like a big group Happy Valentine's Day. We're also Jews. Jews are weird.
My dad used to
parents
give me.
sends.
My dad used to give me stuff on Valentine's Day.
My mom did this year.
That's weird.
Your dad stopped doing it?
but
Sounds
Bill-
like you're the weird
yeah,
one,
when-
Izzy.
when
I know.
Actually.
Yes, I'm the only one whose family members just do not want to give out. love on
Kirsten made
Valentine's
us all
Day.
like little Valentines. Dan clearly appreciated his so much that he left it here.
He's
but
going to be like, "Whose is this?"
Billy threw his away, by the way. So
Hold on a second.
Yeah, this is a big controversy in the office. Actually,
Hold on a
no,
second.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring up such a controversial topic.
Well, no, but
Get to Demi Lovato later.
they handed out these Valentines to everyone, and everyone just left them scattered all over their
No,
seats.
I put
the
mine in my
tables, everywhere.
purse.
I took mine home.
You're the Wow, I met the only two people that actually did something with them, because if you walk around this office, there's these little Valentine cards all over the place, and like.
They're cute. I appreciate
They're
the
cute. They're
sentiment.
cute. I mean, thoughtfulness, I would say minimal, because it wasn't like, we went to great lengths. Everybody got
It's
one.
just
They
a
just
little
wrote
like,
person's name on it.
yeah, it's like what you would get in grade school with like the little paper
Exactly, right?
card
Yeah,
that says
so
to and from.
So like Friday.
There was no like Dove chocolate tape to it.
Yeah,
also.
it's just
But that's
it's-
okay.
It was
An
a
extra.
very nice gesture. I will also
Chocolate.
say Friday was like a weird day here for a number of reasons, and things were moving very quickly on Friday. And people were supposed to be here that weren't here, and it was like a whole thing, and like not the best vibes on Friday. So like,
So your Valentine's Day was ruined by a thing that will not be named, and your day after Valentine's Day was ruined by Stugotz.
no, Stugotz had nothing to. No.
Okay.
No, so
I thought he
Valentine's
was the one that was supposed
No,
to be
Friday was
Friday.
Valentine's Day. This is all happening Friday.
Oh,
We're just now
okay.
working in reverse. So Friday morning, they handed out these like Valentine's cards. Or didn't even hand them out. They were just like at people's seats, right? So like I see it, but I'm having to do like work and things and whatever, right? So then when I leave, I'm like, okay, this is a nice gesture, but like, I'm not just gonna leave this here on the counter for someone to have to come and pick up. Like, and I'm also respectfully not going to frame this and keep this forever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm someone that keeps cards usually a long time, and then I'm like, what do I do with this card? Like, is it rude for me to throw away this card? So like this being given to me, what am I supposed to do with it, right?
At
like,
best, you can stick it on a fridge.
here, I'm not going to take
Right.
this home. Like, fridge is reserved for my children's artwork, not for this nonsense. Respectfully, again, this is a very nice gesture, but
Jeez.
what am I supposed to do with it? So then I, thought I was being considerate by throwing it away and not just leaving a mess like everyone else has, because again, these little things are all over the office still, and we're a week removed from Valentine's Day. So what happens? Someone takes a picture of it and decides to shame me for doing so on the company Slack and putting
mean.
out there, oh, I'm glad you appreciate the Valentines so much. There's a scratch off portion you didn't even scratch off. And
Wait,
it's like,
there's a scratch off?
no,
Yeah,
it's so unclear that that's a thing. So, you don't smell it. It's just
It's not a scratch and sniff. No, it's not a scratch and
And it's
sniff.
not that one. It's one that's
Hold on,
black.
I'll find one to show to you.
So there's like a scratch off
Damn.
portion on some of them, and it's like, I don't know, it has like 2 words and then you scratch it off. But like, I didn't look at it that closely to say I should scratch it off. So then I'm getting shamed for throwing it away. I thought in a considerate gesture for the people that then come and clean up. I wasn't leaving a giant mess, and I didn't know there was a scratch off. But the route that we decided to take was to publicly shame me in
Shame
front of the
Billy.
entire company, which is fine. That's
Well,
fine if that's what we're
really,
going to do.
I mean, don't throw it away in the office garbage can. Throw it away in the garbage can.
Why?
That's not in the
Listen.
office.
Or do a Chris Cody and just leave it in the stairwell downstairs for 4
But
months.
his name's going to be on it.
We are products of our environment, okay?
I was
I
clean
got
and
Dan Le
considerate.
Batard a hat for Christmas, and he just left it behind to the point where he forgot that I gave it to him and asked everybody, "Whose is this? Does anybody want this?" Okay,
Probably
so
over there.
Billy just
Wait,
leaving
what?
Yes, were you not here for that?
No, I
Oh,
don't
it was
think
so awkward.
That was
You weren't
crazy.
here that day.
That was crazy.
It was the craziest thing. So like,
Wait, you got him a hat for Christmas.
So I got 4 people hats for Christmas. 'cause
I
was
remember you
just
told
kinda
us on Mystery
scrolling.
Crate
Yeah.
you were going to get hats for people that wear hats.
Right, and I got
I
one
didn't get a
for
hat.
Billy, one for it was
Roy,
it was,
oh my
a
God.
hat right
Roy
now.
always has
Roy.
FOMO about things that he
Everything.
just found out
Absolutely
about.
everything.
Allow me to explain
You
this
could have
once
had a
again.
hat. You could have had a hat that day if you were standing there when Dan
And
was
you
trying
could
to
have
give
gone
away
to the
hat.
Canada game if you wanted to pay for it, like they all did.
I'm not. I've said this before. I
I was
said this
going up to cover
recently
the
when I
game.
was discussing Roy. I said this recently when I was discussing accidentally buying myself a Sam Reinhart jersey that I was going to get for
Nicest
Ethan on
thing
his birthday.
anybody's ever done for me.
I will if I see something and it looks like, wow, that is a perfect fit for somebody I know, I'm going to find it. I'm going to buy the gift, right? And so I was on this hat site and I saw 4 hats that were like perfect. One for Billy, one for Chris, one for Dan, and one for Tony. And I got those. And Dan's, I gave it to him. He gave me the fake, hey, this is great. I left it right here. About a week and a half later, I'm standing outside of the studio here, and Dan comes out with the hat, serious face. Who's this? Does anybody know? Does anybody want it? And I'm just sitting here directly to his
God.
left. and I
No,
look up.
what you said was perfect. You go, wow, memory's starting to go, Dan.
Yeah.
He goes, memory's starting to go, Dan. I gave you that for Christmas.
What was on the hat?
It was the Monopoly Man. It was like a black and gold hat, and the Monopoly Man. And the reason I got it for him is because not only he's the money man, but his mustache is turning white.
Oh.
And so,
Ah.
so I got it as a reminder.
Kirsten perhaps picked the wrong Valentine for Dan because this says you are oceans of fun, and that sounds like it was oceans of nonsense. And it made me very sad.
I also want to say these very heartfelt Valentines that were handed out. They were so offended that I just put in the trash. There's one here from Mike Ryan from Kirsten that says, "You are oceans of fun." So she's just giving
wow.
away
So
the
they're
exact same
duplicates.
lazy Valentines to everyone, and then she's confused as to why it is that people are like, you know what? Maybe let me not keep this forever. By the way,
She's furious out there, by the way.
oh, I know
Right
she
now,
came.
I'm-
She came and held a sign that
She's gotta
says
be
"You're
pissed.
dead to me."
I'm
which is,
being
like,
told that
excessive.
Dan's was intentionally ironic, so I do want to give
Oh,
whoever
she's getting even
said
more
that
angry.
credit.
Yeah.
Izzy's story, what he didn't tell
Oh, she's
you
coming in.
was
Uh-oh.
there was no one closer to
Says it's all
Dan than
intentional.
Izzy when he did it. Like no one was within arm's length of Dan except Izzy when he did it right around the corner, and
God.
then Dan decided to wear the hat the rest of the day because
As
he
like
was
a
trying
pity
as
wear?
like a make good for what he
Despite
did
the
earlier.
fact that he said it
It's like,
makes his
I love
face
this
look
hat.
Yeah.
No, this is a great hat. I love
He was
this hat.
he was showered in guilt.
Didn't he take it onto the show and say like this makes my hat?
Yeah, and
face
everybody
look
was
on the
like,
show?
it's not the hat.
Yeah.
This makes me
It's your face.
sad, but also uncomfortable.
It was a weird day. It's a weird day.
Going back to Valentine's Day, the night we went to the steakhouse was Valentine's Day. So romantic, how
That's
romantic.
Adorable.
8
Adorable,
dudes
wearing
in a
a hockey
steakhouse.
jersey.
wearing a
One of
hockey
them in a
jersey.
hockey jersey.
Anyway, one of our boys, we had a bottle of red wine, and then one of our boys ordered a bottle of white wine. And apparently, this was some kind of travesty. And I want to present this to the
steakhouse?
group.
Order both or just the white?
Ordering white wine at a steakhouse. Is this some kind of
It's a
foul?
starter wine, right? Because the idea is
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
supposed to eat a steak at a steakhouse, and steak usually pairs with a heavier, full-bodied red. And so, yeah, most of the time, if you're going to order a white, it's like if you get something for the apps, or maybe it's your first drink. But if you're getting a white for the entire meal, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it just I don't want to yuck anyone's yum though. Like get what you're gonna drink. Don't order like a red wine if you don't like red wine. But it is kind of a weird flavor combo.
The snobs
I
are
don't
going to be
know.
angry at you, though.
Who?
The snobs. The wine snobs.
Oh my crying.
Well, I mean, you showed up in a hockey jersey, so I'm pretty sure they didn't really have
Again,
any
it was not the
Once-
worst thing
once
that
you show
happened
up in
that
the-
night.
once you show up in the hockey
all
jersey,
bets are
all the
off.
rules are out
Yeah,
the
yeah,
window.
yeah.
I
What was
saved
the
the
worst thing that happened that night?
Me showing up in a hockey jersey.
That was the worst thing that happened.
I have a question for you, Billy. You guys drove up to Daytona?
We did.
Yeah. Taylor just gave me one of the scratch-off Valentines.
Ooh, I want to see.
Yeah, it's like a. I put it on program.
Taylor,
You're doing a
bring it
great
to
job
me.
of
Yeah, it's Taylor, come back and give it to Jessica. No, but it's just like, and it says right here, I totally dig you, Valentine. Me and Taylor got the same
What does it
one.
smell like?
So
See? So like everyone's getting the same thing, and then all of a sudden one person.
Billy, you saw Demi Lovato?
yeah,
Yeah, it was not. I didn't know we were doing that. We went up. Someone reached out to me. A couple. Shout out to Dave. Dave reached out to me. I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and was like, "Would you have any interest in coming to cover the Daytona 500?" And I was like, "Yeah." So then we went back and forth a couple times. I wasn't the best.
A bit of an upset, by the way.
At getting
you saying yeah to that.
Why?
I don't know. You just don't seem like a Daytona 500 type of guy.
I've been before. This is my second time at the Great American Race.
He's
so
a resident gearhead.
Yeah, thank you. So he said, I think it'd be like cool if you came and did this. You have any interest? And I'm like, yeah, we need to figure it out, like logistics and stuff. Also, like the Super Bowl is coming up, so like we're kind of in the middle of planning that. So like no promises, but like we're gonna try to make this work out. So, we went back and forth, and we ended up making it work out. It was close enough that we could drive, so we drove up on Saturday. And then, like, in the, schedule that he gave us, it said, like, there's a welcome party. Let me know if you guys want to come. And then we see, like, the schedule. Doors open at this time. This is supposed to happen. 9 o'clock, Demi Lovato's performing. We're like, whoa. Because we found out that morning that this is, like, Demi Lovato's performing.
You did drop No Promises on purpose there, right?
The promise.
Is that a Demi Lovato song?
Yeah.
I'm so this is just so not my area of expertise.
Can I tell you something? I have never received so much, aside from throwing away a Valentine that I was supposed to keep forever. I have never really received so much like negative feedback from everyone that we work with.
What?
That I did
for
from
going
like
to the Demi Lovato concert?
For seeing Demi Lovato.
Why?
And then
That's not the experience I had. We were all like, holy shit,
It was the best part. That's why
awesome.
I posted on the thing. I said,
Amazing. There's a picture of you in the
weekend.
Way
The
cooler
four
than,
of you
way
with
cooler
her.
than going to a hockey tournament and
No,
doing things
that
like
is
our
not true.
sports
Yeah,
content
in
for
Montreal,
a week.
yeah.
There's a lot of negative.
but-
a lot
Boy, it wasn't about you.
My trip was cooler. Sorry.
The only thing I said was Demi Lovato has fallen far from her former fame.
What is that?
Because
Former
to do
fame?
this
Wow.
type of concert, it looked like there was 20 people there.
Dude, she
No,
probably
if this was,
got,
if this was
like,
a VIP event, she probably
Well,
got
that's
paid.
true.
So I went to
So much.
We don't know the nature of
I
the
went to
event.
like a VIP
Yeah.
college football national championship party a few weeks ago, and T.I. was doing a concert for like literally 40 people.
Yeah.
And it was probably like the 40 richest people that
Yeah.
were
Was
like
in
200K.
Atlanta that
So
weekend.
was it
And
one of
she
those,
probably got
Billy?
paid so much.
Yeah.
Oh, for
And
sure
I
he
was
did.
like, why am I here? This
And
is
she crushed
crazy.
it, killed it. She told this great story about how she has a number 3 tattoo. She met Dale Earnhardt
It's
when she
probably
was a
like
little girl.
the easiest money that artists make is these like small events where it's like, no, like you can just kind of chill.
I have
you can
heard-
talk to Thomas in the crowd and
Yeah.
get paid, and then you go. Low
I've heard
stress.
multiple stories of like celebrities that go
Aw.
to celebrity kids' birthday parties, or they go to a bar mitzvah and they make like $400,000 just for shaking some hands
Yeah.
and singing a song. And
I
that's
have
That part's cool, though, the fact that she is actually a gearhead. And has
She
a number
performed
3
for
tattoo.
50 minutes. It wasn't like here's
Oh, wow.
two songs and I'm
Nice.
gone. Like 50 straight minutes, and like it was good. It was impressive. But yeah, I had a lot of people here. Negative comments,
Yeah,
negative
jeez.
messages. Why wasn't I invited?
Lehman's
And it's
bar
like,
mitzvah band got
dude,
arrested for fraud. Funny
The entire
story.
band?
Oh, all of them. Oh,
At
yeah.
the event?
Allegedly. No, like they saw
Gotta go
like,
DJ at a bar mitzvah.
A year after the bar mitzvah, they were like watching the news and they were all getting cuffed.
What was the nature of the fraud?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'll find out for you.
It has to be some kind of like.
You got to go
Financial.
DJ at a bar mitzvah though. Like wedding band
We've-
at a
we've
wedding
had this
maybe,
conversation
but
100
bar
times.
mitzvah is a DJ.
No, you
They
always-
say-
That DJ Irie.
Yeah, you always go DJ because bands are limited.
Was the fraud that they said they were a cover band, but they did all original music? I'd arrest them
Nobody
for that.
wants to hear originals. Nobody wants to hear originals.
I also had like the next day, like Rose was mad that we were at the race. She's like, "Why didn't you tell me?" And I'm like, "Why?
Why would I?
Why
tell you?
would I have told you?" Like,
There's a lot
Rose
of people
does this
around here
every
that get
time.
upset when they're not invited
Dude,
to
crazy
things.
FOMO
Yes.
for like
It's just
everything.
I
literally just got in a
every
car and drove. Anyone
event.
could have done it. You know what I mean?
I order food a lot,
Everyone knows, but Google wins the Daytona 500. There you go. You have all the
Yeah.
information.
and Rose is always like, "Why didn't you
I
get me a
never have
smoothie?"
FOMO.
The
I don't want
place
to do
didn't-
anything.
Same.
She has
I'm
so
with
much
you.
FOMO.
I do enjoy life
I want
without
to stay
me.
home.
I'm
You know what I
more
did
than
on
happy.
Valentine's Day? I fell asleep on my couch at like 9:30.
Awesome.
It was
God,
amazing.
True love right there.
Yep.
I had people complaining to me about like not coming and then putting up pictures of themselves at a party bus later in that day, and I'm like, you're out with your friends. Why do you want to spend time with me? Like, get out of here.
Did anybody recognize Taylor?
No one recognized any of us. I don't think. It's once you're in Daytona, everybody's
Yeah.
on the same playing field. We're all just there, race fans, loving the great sport and talking to each other and whatever. I don't know.
None of us got recognized in Montreal, but at the airport, I was wearing a Dan Le Batard Show jacket, and the guy goes, "Oh, you like the Le Batard Show?" I'm like, "I guess you could kind of say that."
Wow.
Can I tell you
Do
my
you?
favorite?
You should have been like, actually,
No, I
I'm
hate it,
Ethan.
actually. That's
Yeah.
why I'm here.
Unbelievable.
I'm the guy who jumps on Tony's back and pretends I'm riding him because I'm. So
I heard
small.
a story. I heard a story
I'm
about.
Ethan. Ever heard of me?
I heard a story about a coworker that was an exchange before they were coworkers, where at one of the Moss events not too long ago, and I'm not going to name names because I don't want to protect. I don't want to put anyone's business out there, But we had someone who works with us now attend a Moss event before this person worked with us.
Oh yeah, and he came up to me and introduced himself.
Well, no, not okay. But
Was it
that
a different person?
No. So this is the story. This person is waiting to get into the event. This is the event that was at Blackbird. That was like right after COVID or whatever.
It was the mini Moss
Then another coworker
that I definitely got
ours,
COVID at, by the way. But
100%.
I think we all did.
All of us did.
I was so sick after.
Another coworker of ours who was new to the show comes up and cuts this person in line.
I know this.
And says, "You don't know who I am? I'm blank." And then got in front of the line of people who were waiting by big timing this person who is now a coworker of ours.
Can we find out who it was after You Betcha?
Maybe.
Welcome to Mystery Crate.
You
betcha.
It's brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. So, football's over.
Aw.
The
Don't sound so
NBA
sad. This
I
is
know,
good. We
it
need
really
to
is.
breathe.
It's true.
Football is a very physical sport.
So I worked at beIN Sports and Gold TV for a long time, which was a lot of soccer. And one of my main gripes about soccer was that it never ended. And some people love that. They love watching it all the time. Not I, Samurai. I like to have a break between my sports. I like to miss it a little bit. I like to build up to opening day. So that was always my problem with soccer. But unfortunately, right now, we're only stuck with one of our pillars, college basketball, one of the worst TV products there is.
I love women's college
is good.
basketball.
I was going to say women's is
Women's is good. Talk
Notre
about the
Dame
men's.
ranked number 1 right now in the AP poll. Just beat Duke at home on Monday night, the number 11 team in the country.
Yeah,
Gators number 2 on the
along
men's
with other
side.
Big Ten powers, UCLA and USC. Nothing says the Big Ten like Southern California. But the parlay this week is going to be Arizona over BYU, Houston over Iowa State, Wisconsin over Oregon. That one comes from Mike Malley, our video in the back. That is a big time money line parlay, and that's you
Betcha.
All right, Billy, I got to hear the end of the story.
No, I got to hear that in this Billy story. Yeah.
I mean, that's the story. I just haven't said the names because I don't know if this story is true or not.
Taylor
but
and Lewis.
those are the names.
Two
that I was
funniest
told.
names you could have thought.
Okay, so can I say it was definitely Lewis big timing Taylor?
Taylor was there as a fan of the show. He introduced himself to us. I recognize him from Twitter because he used to tweet the show a lot. So Taylor's there. I'm like, hey, cool to meet you, whatever. And then he told me this weekend. This weekend so while I drove up, we went in 2 cars.
Why?
Which was
who was the cool car and who was the loser car? You can tell us.
So
it was Thomas, Kugler, you, and Taylor.
Yes, it was the 4 of us.
Okay.
4 people in
all
2
4,
cars?
If you don't know who these people are, they're all producers for Meadowlark
Now, here
the show.
Okay.
I don't feel like people know who Thomas is. Thomas
I don't
is
think
the GOAT.
Well, don't bother learning
Social
his name.
Yeah, don't bother. Yeah, that's true too. Don't bother.
I didn't.
Thomas is goated, but don't worry about him.
Yeah, I didn't think that we were gonna go in 2 cars originally, but that's what ended up happening. And I was trying to Kugler was like, oh, I have the thing, and you guys should head up there before us, and blah blah. I'm like,
That's a
we'll
good
wait,
cruise.
we'll go,
Good
we'll go together. We're fine. He's like, no, Thomas is probably he'll be uncomfortable sitting in the back, and I'll be uncomfortable sitting in the back. And I'm like, I'll take my wife's car. It's like a larger car.
It's not
it's
that
fine.
far. It's like 3.5 hours.
It was like a little more than 4 hours, right? So
go to the Buc-ee's.
it ended up being this whole situation where each of us just went 2 people in a car. So I was in a car with Taylor for 2 different road trips, a 4-hour road trip up and a 4-hour road trip back. And surprisingly, a lot of bonding between myself and Taylor. I do too.
That's a optimistic car.
How many weekend observations ideas did he run by you? Lines?
He was frustrated about the fact he did have the whole next day to do
we
weekend
definitely
observations.
talked about Stugotz the
I have
entire
never
time.
seen a human being happier than when Weekend Obs is cooking and Taylor's just sitting there with this little smile on his face, flipping over pages, seeing his jokes hit. He's like,
You can hear
He's
during
never
the
been happier in
week
his life.
when Taylor comes up with weekend observations because he just texts us things throughout the week, just little
I hope Dan
one-liners.
fires both of
and then
you
they
for
end up
revealing the most
Yeah.
obvious fact about weekend observations.
the one that they mention all the time on the.
Just kidding. I hope Dan doesn't fire anyone.
Well, so me and Taylor spent a lot of quality time together. We were supposed to be the first car to leave, but I had to go pick up. My wife decided to have her car serviced that day, which slowed things down. And then Cougs and Thomas left before us, but I didn't want to tell them how much they left before us because I'm like, I'm gonna make up this time on the road. I can't let them know that.
Wait,
we're
Cougs had a
waiting.
thing, but he still left before you.
Yeah, he had a thing, but because I was like,
Sketchy.
okay, well, you have a thing, I'll wait. And then like I changed my plans to wait for everyone. And they're like, nah, let's still go in 2 cars. And it's like,
So he just didn't want to go with you, is what I'm hearing.
exactly right.
Okay.
Exactly right.
We
Said
have
that
some
there was a
divas that
space
want to
thing.
sit in the front seats.
We wanted to
that's what I'm
drive.
hearing.
Here's another thing about that is I was talked into we don't have to stay Sunday night because I was like, I'll get, the Airbnb on Saturday night so that we just get there early, and Sunday night so that we can stay, late till the end, whatever, and then we'll just drive back on Monday morning. I quickly got from everyone that no one wanted to stay an additional night. And then Thomas was like, I'll drive, don't worry. I'm a,
That's a good Thomas.
insomniac. I'll handle the driving. We can switch whatever. So like, I'm like, okay, fine. So I only get the Airbnb for one night. And then all of like my backup drivers have now bailed on me because I don't even know if Taylor has a license. And like the one story I know about him driving is him driving off a cliff and totaling his car. So like, there's not a chance in hell he's going to be driving on this trip.
Not a cliff.
Like not once.
It was
is
a
he gonna-
parked car,
It's
wasn't it?
not a cliff.
He got out of
lives on
his
a
car without
He
putting
lives
it
on a
in
hill.
park, and it went backwards.
Yeah.
When you tell me you've
Luckily, there's no cliffs in Florida, I guess, other than Tropical Park. But go
listen,
on.
dangerous. But I'm not going to have him drive because I don't want to die or, have anything happen to my wife's car because I was in my wife's car. So now it's like, okay, now I have to drive the entire way both times. And I'm going to have to drive all the way back after the race. It's going to be late. I'm going to be tired. I was already kind of like a little grumpy pants because I'm like, I'm just so exhausted. Like we've been traveling
And it's like
a
your
lot. and
3-day
doing
weekend and you spent it working,
Well, there's a lot of things were involved. Once I got there, it was a great time. But the drive up, we end up passing Thomas and Cougs because somehow they made a wrong turn. They stopped.
They stopped for Diet Coke. It
Dude.
took 3 hours.
Well, that was another thing. He's like, well, I'm going to drink a lot of Diet Coke, and I don't want you guys to judge how much Diet Coke I have or whatever. And I'm like, dude,
was
no
Cougs
one cares how
again?
much Diet Coke you're going to have.
No, but
it's
it is
fine.
a sick amount.
But
a lot of Diet Coke.
It was just a lot of excuses to not be in the car with us. So me and Taylor go by ourselves. And then he even asked me, he's like, are you afraid to be in the car alone with Taylor? I'm like, I'm not afraid. It's just like...
Maybe he's got like gas problems and he doesn't want to fart around everybody.
Well, he drove with Thomas.
Yeah, so he unleashed it on
I guess
Thomas.
just blame it on Thomas. I don't
You
know.
probably had to stop and pee a lot because of all the Diet Coke, though.
Whatever it was, they stopped one time and then they somehow missed an exit, and then we ended up passing them and got to the place 30 minutes before them when we had left. Like
Let me guess.
45 minutes.
They got on
after.
the turnpike. They forgot to get off on 95, and they ended up going straight towards Orlando. They had to get off at the Yeehaw Junction, drive on that creepy state road all the way east back to 95.
You betcha.
This is
my
impressive
impression.
Florida knowledge from
past,
Florida.
past the a million parking signs.
That is
That's farther
exactly.
north,
yeah.
but yeah.
That's exactly the mistake that they made.
Yep, been there, done that.
So we get there and like we change our clothes, and we have to drive half an hour to go see Demi because it's we the only place that we could find at a reasonable price was 30 minutes away. So we do that. The next morning we get up. We're supposed to do like a pace car lap around the track, but we ended up getting there a little later than anticipated. And then once we got in, they sent us to the wrong parking lot. And it's like crazy. The track is like 2.5 miles like around, so you have like the whole inside of that 2.5 miles, and they sent us the wrong way.
It's just
so
an oval. Like, what is there to see in the pace car lap?
well, we were told by someone that did it. It was like, it's fine. It was okay. So like we ended up doing the thing. Then it starts raining. Once it starts raining, we wait over an hour, and we're talking to the different people that are there, and we're like, how long? Like, we'll wait. Like, what do you guys think? And they're like, you guys should head out of there because like
It's gonna go really late.
They're like, you should head out of there. We don't know. This happened last year, and then they did it the next day. Like, and we didn't again have a room for the night because I was talked out of that. And then
I heard that they moved the race up because they knew a storm was coming, but then it got delayed because Donald Trump came.
yeah,
Is
so
that
they moved
true?
they moved it up an hour. And then, like, the festivities of Trump being there and driving around the track and, like, security delayed it, like, 40 minutes. So I think that they saved about 20 minutes total time because of that. I mean, they still wouldn't have gotten it in anyways in an hour. They would have just not stopped
Right.
after 11 laps. But we were talking to, like, security guards and people we thought, like, would know how it works. And they're like, you guys should leave. Like, this is not going to start anytime soon. Then we found out it takes 2 hours to dry the track once it stops raining, which it was still raining at the time. So we're like, okay, well, we'll head out and just
I would say the photos are cool, even if you weren't in a car. Just being on the track and you guys get photographed there, those are pretty cool.
Someone like took that and didn't like. I don't know who took that picture and who uploaded it because I think that was on Reddit. And I don't know, like, who took it. Like, we didn't talk to anyone that was there. It's a cool picture. I love that picture. And it honestly shows you, like, how close you can get. Like,
Taylor having the time
that's
of
in
his
Pit
life.
Road. We're, like, right there. So, anyways, we end up leaving. And then I go back with Taylor again. And Cougs and, you know, Thomas have their own car once again. They stop and they have a meal. Didn't tell us that they were having a meal.
Wow.
And then something else happened. And
Sounds like your clique has its own cliques.
I mean, yeah, I didn't
This
think
is how
that there were
families break up.
any cliques involved in this whatsoever. But me and Taylor ended up beating them home by like an hour and a half somehow. And like I was gonna ask
They
at some point, like,
accidentally got back on the Yeehaw Junction.
yeah, I don't know what they did, but it takes them forever to get places. Like me and Taylor didn't stop once in either direction. No pee stops, no nothing. Like we're going straight through. And I turned to him, I'd be like, Taylor, you gotta pee? You gotta drink water? He's like, let's go. Like, no, let's go, brother.
I'm you and
I don't know why I
Taylor
made
in
him
this
Hulk
situation. Like Lee and I, we do a lot of road trips, and we've driven. The reason I know about the Yeehaw Junctions because we've driven 95 north 100
But
times
never
since
on
we
the
moved
junction.
here. No, well, he accidentally missed the turn. It was a whole thing. I was not happy, but we're very efficient road trippers. Like we get in, we piss, we get out. We take our dog for a walk. She does her stuff.
think that's the
We
right
get back
order.
in the car. We go. Like we get our snack and our drink, and we get in and we go. We do not dilly dally.
Yeah, no dilly-dallying.
We are like we're getting where we're going. We're not wasting our time just fucking around on this stupid road trip. I feel like if I were in the Kugler Thomas car, I would have been very
The
frustrated.
way you told
I
that
would have
story, it
gotten
sounded
very,
like you peed in the car.
Sometimes, if there's not time,
Yeah.
piss in the car. I don't give a shit. We're getting back in the car. We're
Gatorade
getting on the
bottle?
road, okay?
They
Kugler Thomas car would have pissed me off, is what I'm saying.
I think that I would have, if I had not been driving, been like, guys, this is taking a really long time. Like, we can be making so much better time.
right. I
with
could be
this
doing
situation.
anything else right now.
Well, they went to Culver's, and then they were telling us about their Culver's
There's a
on the way.
Culver's in Florida?
Somewhere, I don't know. They went to Culver's.
Culver's
There's one
frozen
on
custard?
University in Broward
Yeah,
County.
now they're getting mad at
I
me
didn't know
saying
that.
you told us we were not having a meal together on the way home, which is something I would say. I probably said that. Like if we were getting in the car at the same time, like, you guys want to stop for me? I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
The only place I'm eating on the turnpike is the Wendy's or the Auntie Anne's in a rest stop.
You
That's
not
very
saying
cultured.
you not saying
Yep.
Crackle Barrel is
Earl
Crackle
sandwich.
I mean, Cracker Barrel,
Cracker
like
Barrel's where
in
it's
the
at.
morning on the way out,
No.
yes. But once I'm on the road, like I'm only stopping at
Billy,
the rest stops.
I got a
and then-
question for you because I
Cracker
had a
Barrel
bit of
get
a celebrity experience myself.
Oh.
Encounter.
Were you the
in
celebrity?
San Francisco. No, I was not the celebrity. Thank you for asking.
arguably.
How did you guys get that photo with Demi behind you? Like, did she see you guys taking a picture and come up behind you, or did you guys like have a little, hey, let's come take this picture?
So she was performing. She was in the middle of a song when that was happening. It was like one of those corporate things like you guys mentioned. So like a lot of the people were not by the stage. We were close to the stage, but not that close. We saw a couple take a picture like, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes before, and she went and got in the background of the picture. So like we kind of knew if we got close enough that this was a possibility of happening if we were to kind of do this picture. So we went over there. Taylor was going to take a picture by himself. And then like there was like a photographer who's like, oh no, all of you guys get in, which I was like, perfect. Because I knew when he was standing there, this is our moment. So we went over there, and then she came like across the stage and posed. And like for a long time, because the person that was taking our picture, like almost awkwardly so, seemed to be struggling and fidgeting like with the camera, and took like 3 pictures. But it was like not like a quick like, here's 1 second and Demi's there and then she's gone. Like she was probably there like 20 seconds waiting
Is
to
she
make sure the
singing
picture came
while,
out.
Like, is there music playing?
Yeah,
while
that was
this
mid
picture's
song.
being taken?
Yeah, it was mid song.
You know what I was just thinking about? Kugler drove me home from the F1 race last year, and the traffic around the stadium was horrific. It was just a complete shit show. And we were on one specific road for like 30 or 40 minutes, not moving. And then we finally got to this intersection, and I was like, oh, we're definitely going to turn and get back on the turnpike and get home or get on the highway. No, we kept going, and we ended up at McDonald's. And I was like, did we just wait in traffic for 45 minutes for him to get his Diet Coke at McDonald's?
Did he tell you it was someone else's fault? It was his wife, his kids. It's always
Diet
someone else's
Cokes,
fault with this
extra
guy.
large, like for himself. I didn't get anything.
Did he
Well,
ask
and then-
you at least?
I mean, yeah, but I didn't.
He's usually pretty good. Like if you go with him somewhere, he's like, I have points.
No, that's true. That's true.
Always tries to get you stuff with his
does have
McDonald's
McDonald's.
points.
I like
always-
this fake
He
Kugler.
always tries to impress you with his amount of points, but
He
then
shows it off.
Yes,
That
but
he
It's
then,
a
just
crazy
gets from
amount.
but then he
Diet
but then he
Coke.
offers.
It's
He
wild.
goes, "Would you like a free Diet Coke for my points?" I'm
Well,
like,
no, that's okay, that's a point of contention with him, is that McDonald's doesn't offer free sodas with their points. So
You have
he's
to get food.
He's accumulated.
He's trying to offload his points on other people.
Yeah,
that he
because they
can't
also
use.
expire.
Because they expire and all these places expires, it's bullshit.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on
Yes,
that. But
it's
he has like
bullshit.
a crazy, like over 100,000 points, which
Yeah,
is
he's
like
addicted
not
to that.
easy
That's
to attain. Yeah, you okay?
I'm all right.
I don't feel
just
like
had to pull a Greg Cody real quick.
Gift
I'm sorry.
cards should not expire. Especially like
No, it's money I
just
spent.
That's a
dumb.
scam.
I
Dude,
don't-
every time
over.
every
Roll
time I
it
open
over.
my Starbucks app and it's like your stars are about to expire.
Yeah, I hate
I'm like,
that.
this is dog shit. Like I spent money on your
How they
$7
trick
coffee.
you to get
to spend it
more
again.
money. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
You know,
Yeah.
America.
One
Yeah,
America.
all three of them. Yeah.
You guys want to hear my celebrity story?
Sure.
Sure.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. So I was again in San Francisco for All-Star Weekend, and I had this event where I was just basically talking to Chris Mullin for a while on this stage at this. They have like effectively like a convention, right, for the fans, and it's just selling jerseys over here. Check out this new ball that doesn't use air anymore, which I don't know if you saw that.
Like
but
a 3D printed ball or
Yeah,
something.
It has like
Yeah.
a bunch of holes, right?
I know
It's
it
like-
sucks because
Basketball?
Steph Curry
Yeah.
shot one and it was an air ball, so I was like, that's not right. And so basketball.
Okay.
Sorry.
I mean, it could have been any kind of ball.
Yeah, but how does
It
the
bounces?
did you grab it?
It does.
Yeah, it does everything.
bounce. It does.
But how's the weight?
It looks like a rubber, like
Yeah.
a little Tykes ball.
Feels lighter, but I don't know if that's true or not. But so I'm sitting there waiting for the event before me to finish, and I'm mad at myself for not remembering the name of the foundation. But the rapper Common has a foundation. I want to say it's Dream Something Foundation.
Okay.
We'll get the name of that before the show's over. And so I see him in backstage, and I'm on the side. I'm sorry, I'm going to get fined for this.
Jesus,
Maybe
what
you
just
have a
came
cough
out of
button
your
over there.
throat?
And, no, I don't. Do I? That's what I was trying to figure out. We'll talk about that later.
Left?
And so I see him in the backstage, and he's like patiently waiting. Like every 2 minutes, I look over, and he's just sitting there at the back of the stage, and it's like one speaker coming up after another, and I didn't realize it was his foundation at the time, so that's why he's patiently waiting. But he's waiting, and then he comes up, and he actually tells a really cool story. He used to be a ball boy for the Chicago Bulls, and he put up this picture of pretty much an empty stadium, at least based on the baseline seats, and Jordan's dunking, and the only other people in the shot are like looking away, and you see a little kid just like looking up and staring, and that's Common in the photo. And so, he gave a whole speech about inspiration, blah, blah, blah.
The Common Ground Foundation.
I feel like you should have been able to remember that.
That's not it. Keep
That's
looking.
not it.
It's not. I'm telling you, it's got Dream in it.
Okay.
So
Must have two then.
we go to I'm sorry, so he's done. He walks off the stage, and then he comes back up a little bit later as some lady is sort of doing what seems like, final word, and then a beat starts playing, and I'm like, okay, he's going to perform something. I'm thinking maybe he's going to perform one of his songs, whatever. He doesn't actually even get up on stage. He stays there on the side, on the stairs, and just starts freestyling. Like, freestyling, it was, first of all, that...
Speaking of which, Free to Dream Foundation.
There it is, the Free to Dream Foundation.
Good one, Roy.
Professional.
Thank you.
So he was always there for me, Roy.
You got it.
He was there
That's our guy.
freestyling, and after 30 seconds, I'm like, wow, he's just gonna go, and he's going for a minute, and I'm just like, this to me is the most impressive thing. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it in the world. Like anybody who can freestyle regularly, I'm just like, man, those people have special powers, and. So a minute and a half into it, it's just like, man, he's still going. And I'm starting to talk to somebody. And then I hear this. I don't know what the first verse was, the first half of the line was, but the second half goes, I saw Israel earlier. And I was like, what? Did I just get name
Yeah,
dropped
shout
in
it
a
out.
Common freestyle at the
Play
All-Star
the
game
sounder.
with all
Play
these
the sounder,
people?
Fuentes.
Oh, look at me,
I mean,
Louis,
you
huh?
can play
That
it all
is
you
one
want.
of the most all-time.
Exactly.
Look at me,
And
Louis.
I will absolutely
look at
accept
this.
it. There we go.
I mean, a dope story, but an all-timer.
Well, what was the context? Did he mention Gaza after? Because then it may not.
Whoa.
No, he definitely did not.
no,
I actually asked around because I was like I said, I was having a little conversation, and so I was like, wait a second, did he just say my name? And I was like, I mean, my name is a country, so it could be anything, right? But no, and then so I went after he was done, which is, again, he went for 3 minutes, it felt like. I went to the back and, immediately recognized me, said he's been watching, for years, blah, blah, blah. Obviously a big sports fan, was a Chicago
Wow.
Bulls ball boy. And I was like, this is one of the greatest moments of my life. Like, it's not just meeting him and all that stuff, but just the fact that it was in a freestyle, the fact that it was in, like, All-Star Weekend. And I was just before I talked to Chris Mullen for 30 minutes on this stage. And Chris Mullen, that Run TMC team he was on.
I don't know if Chris Mullen gets a look at me, Louie,
But Chris Mullen is a guy with that Run TMC team that I grew, like, that's the team that made me fall in love with the NBA. So it was like a direct result of him playing got me to being this person, and here we are talking on stage.
Wow,
I thought
full
that was going to
circle.
be the coolest moment, but yet, no, an hour earlier, Common was the coolest moment. It did lose a little bit of its luster because Mully was an hour late. But it wasn't really his fault. It was traffic.
Classic Mully.
If only Demi Lovato shouted out one of you guys in one of her songs, and he could have
Thomas,
dueling.
yeah.
Look
Dude,
at
she
Me
pointed
Louie.
at Thomas and said, "I love you. I love your energy," and then
Oh,
continued.
that's even better.
Yeah.
Imagine if Common
To
gave
Thomas?
50
Yeah.
minutes like Demi Lovato did.
I told you guys like
Thomas has been glowing lately.
I told you guys like earlier, like Thomas was like he really kind of did get the party started in this concert because it's like normally it could be like a stuffy thing, and he was singing and dancing along with everything. He'd yell things at her. She's like, "Oh, you may have heard this song." He's like, "We know all these songs," and then like she said something like I don't know, something about, she ended with "Cool for the Summer,"
Yeah.
and as soon as the
Wow.
music started,
I know that one.
he just yelled, "Summer starts now." He was killing it at this concert.
Unbelievable.
Thomas
Is he her
does
full-time hype man?
he does a lot of things and then like normally says, "I'm not normally like this."
He does it
That's
really
so
low.
true.
But he
And does
always
his hand
does
thing.
these
He's like-
things. I don't know if he's just comfortable with us or what it is. But
All
he's
the
like, I'm
dice-
not normally
dice
like
He goes,
this.
I'm not normally like this. And he has his hand thing like this. By the way, this episode of Mr. Craze brought to you by DraftKings. Crown is yours.
Thanks, Mike. One
I
time
had to get
Thomas
in there.
came over
Sorry.
for dinner and Lee made salmon, and Thomas pretended like he liked salmon even though he had never had it before and ate the whole thing.
Classic Thomas move. He'll say nothing and he'll just
really
power
like this.
through.
And he literally afterwards was like, "I think I might like salmon now. That was really good."
Did it-
But
oh,
I
you
was
didn't
really afraid to eat it. I was like,
I don't
"Thomas, you didn't
normally
have
eat
to
this.
eat. We could have made you something else."
Thomas is the guy we learned last week. We were in New Orleans. We went to this Cajun restaurant. Everybody orders all this Cajun fare, all this stuff, and then Thomas.
Oh,
I'll just
don't
have,
do this to him.
I'll just have a plain cheeseburger.
No. why not?
Oh,
Didn't you say he was chicken tender guy?
That's at the
That's
next
stealing
restaurant.
my throne.
That's
Don't
where
do
that's
that to him.
that's
That's where
my
Billy had a
kingdom.
grilled
You
cheese.
two eat like children.
No,
Yeah,
I didn't have
I'm
a
okay with
grilled
it.
cheese. I had a Cajun grilled cheese thing that I thought was something that
what's
was
in a
not.
Cajun grilled cheese?
It had a lot of words that were Cajun, so I thought I was eating a local delicacy, and then it came, and I'm like, "This is." You know what it looked like? Do you know the tostadas that they have here for breakfast sometimes? That it's just like pressed French bread,
Yeah.
like with like butter. That's what ended up coming out.
With
I'm like,
cheese.
I'm
God,
yeah,
that
I'm.
sounds
This
good.
is not filling
Yeah,
whatsoever.
Thomas picked. It
Then
was,
we had a corporate dinner that was like super awkward.
I
Yeah,
heard
it
no
was.
one went.
we were there. We were there. The thing that made it a little weird
Yeah,
was
little
like,
birdie told me that. I'm just repeating what I heard.
who was that?
One of the chickens.
I don't reveal my sources.
Yeah,
No, but
Damn chickens have
I don't-
big mouths.
I heard some notable people skipped it.
That's
Yeah.
That's fair.
Their
after
name
Mike
rhymes
Fuentes
with
guilted me into going and
ham
telling me how important it
lebatard.
was for me to be
what
there.
else were you gonna do?
I was sick.
You were sick?
Not contagious though.
Oh, that's right. He had shown up sick. That's right.
Yeah.
It's just a coincidence that everyone else got sick when they got back.
You know
from New
that
Orleans.
right before we had that dinner, Tom Brady was there with
Yes.
like his whatever his entourage is, but like they snuck him in and out the back, so no one knew he was at the restaurant.
It must
While
have been.
he was there.
It must have been when we were sitting because at that
No
back,
chance. It was
what
where we
can
were
he
sitting.
even
Yeah.
eat there?
I don't know. If I'm him, I let it loose. You know
Yeah,
what
I was
mean?
gonna
Like,
say, do you
dude,
think-
I put on so much weight. If I'm him, like, why care
I feel
anymore?
like most
think now that
players
he's retired, he's
lose
just
weight
like,
when they
fuck it?
retire.
Well, no, like
No, he's
those
not
are like the
fucking-
bigger players. Like he's in a
the
position to
offensive
let
line.
himself go. I was
He's
walking.
way too
too.
vain though. He's way too vain.
I was walking around asking people, like, because a lot of people don't like Tom Brady for like jealous reasons, right? Like, I think it's fair to say. I don't think that.
Also, because he's been a jerk.
Well,
It's
but
jealous.
I
You ruined my childhood,
And a-
kind of.
and a-
I
cheater.
I think
known cheater.
I think if Tom Brady got really fat, he'd be beloved by everyone. I think if he just put on a bunch of pounds, he'd be like, "Yeah, look at him." Like,
I'm
he's
an
really
everyman.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. Yeah, look at
Just
him.
like
He's losing
everybody
some
else.
hair. He's
Eating
putting-
strawberries.
No, but people would hate him
Crazy.
for trying to be the everyman, just being like, I'm like everybody else.
He wouldn't do it very well. Like he would get
Yeah.
like,
No
look at
chance.
me,
No
I'm
chance.
every man.
Correct.
And it's
He would
just
be like
"You're not,
this
man."
really fat guy with Botox. That would be like.
It's
his
like
thing.
if you remember, I saw this meme the other day. It was just Al Bundy on his couch, in the Married with Children thing, and he wasn't that out of shape, but yet the caption said, you know, the 90s had us believing that Al Bundy was fat and poor, and they scan out to his house, and it's just a giant, two-story house, and it's just like
As a part-time shoe salesman at a mall.
Yeah, but back then that house probably only cost $80,000.
Yeah,
80, like 30.
Now it's worth $4.5 million.
Exactly. Like one of my favorite fan theories is like all the things Kevin McAllister's dad did in Home Alone, because he had like a 15 bedroom mansion.
Like a mob lawyer.
Winnetka,
like he flew everybody to Paris, all the parents in first class, and then like of course like all the Sopranos memes.
We have very little time left, but I want everyone here to wish Mike Fuentes luck, because today is a day that he has dreamed about for many years.
This is a big
that
day
may
for my boy.
change his life, a day that he has been fantasizing for a very long time, that he is overplaying in his head, and he thinks that next week
he's
he
not
will be
overplaying it.
a different
This is his
person
time.
completely.
What is it?
Get to it.
I'm gonna meet Becky G in like 3 hours.
Whoa.
Okay, goodbye.